Okay, I got a box of Seattle candies. My favorite has to be the milk salted coffee. Whatever. I don't think you can see that. And then my second favorite is the blackberry cream. And then my third favorite is the espresso. I'm currently listening to this video. Rain 3. I'm kidding. Let me think. I'm currently listening to myself talk in the car right now after I get 2 things. So, and also thumbs up. I've not been thumbsing. Okay. Enjoy the video if you want. I don't know. It's usually just background noise for me when I work, but yeah. I feel like it's been a hot second that I've literally talked to the camera. Right now, what today feels like, I just have to go to portfolio class and then I can do more assignments at home. It's kind of raining today. The weather has been pretty icky for this week. I've been very icky this week. But I feel like I'm like a butterfly and I metamorphosize. I'm like, wow, I wish I had the knowledge that I had right now with doing things. Like everything in Houdini, now I know. Everything in Niagara and all the plugins, I know. I wish I had that at the beginning, so then I could just keep going. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's also, I think it's like very valuable in enriching yourself in like flowcharts. Like just making a flowchart. I think making a to-do list is a lot, but making like a flowchart is so appealing. It's even like a bracket system. Like who would win? You know, like if you think about it that way. And then you have to like analyze every single person's thing, which can be overwhelming. That's why you start off with something that you enjoy. So it's like, okay, maybe I like anime. Like let me analyze like an anime character to me. Or if you're more of an analytic person, then I think it's sort of like, yeah, I would want to like dive into a lot of things further. As well, like that's why I've been also just doing, since I've been sick, I wanted to preoccupy myself mentally so I don't just like traditionally sleep. So I make like card games or the board games, ideation. I've been into Arc Raiders. I've not played Arc Raiders, but the idea of Arc Raiders is kind of cool. It's like not the predecessor, but like the next evolution of like extraction games, a lot of people are saying. So which is very nice. It's giving like Forever Winter with like those types of like things where you're like a robot. There's like robots that live in this world and you have to just like extract from minerals and whatnot, so forth. But yeah, I wish also in the shower I was listening to Strangers from Doja Cat. I was vibing, and then I got muscle cramps like my calves and then like my forearm layer here, and I'm like, oh no, and I'm slowly like, cause born to be wild, and I'm like, okay, that's wow. But how's my overall week? Monday I got very sick, so I got that, and then Tuesday I was recovering from that. Wednesday I was semi-recovering from it still, and then Thursday again medium subpar, and then now I'm here. I think this week I did a lot of more documentation stuff. I'm just like noting things, which is great. But yeah, I've also worked on my, yeah, like for example, I've been doing my grayscale for my centric orbit thing. And I'm like, wow, I know how a VAT works. So all the VAT people, okay, this is just for the Houdini people. Like, crazy. Also, I got a message from Dylan, so it's like, oh yeah, that's great. So that's so. But I've been sick. So yeah. Go to the next thing. wife me up and butter me in a biscuit. I got two of my favorite things, and I'm not gonna miss it. This, by far, I think, should be number one. Dare I say, I don't know. You know, when this is here, you know this was the last one. And then, I gotta showcase this. Look at this Frito bag. You think there's gonna be like air at the top? Or no. No. It's thick. This is a hefty boy. They package this to the brim. This is like by far my favorite thing, chip wise. Just like a twist. Although it's like very simply, I don't know. But I'm gonna drive and just talk about what I learned in the 1 to 2 classes I went in person for, because oh my gosh, the brain fog is real. What I would say is we were talking with career services, not career services, but people who do marketing stuff for DigiPen. And it is marketing and you. That's what the whole spiel is about. And essentially, their biggest points are separating yourself from your personal for your work stuff. And that's a good thing. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you have like a personal Instagram, then you should have like a work Instagram. Whether if it's you're doing like art, or whether if you're doing like specifically like getting to tech, or if you're like fashion, etc., etc. Like your public branding of yourself is something that should be valued than your media credentials in the long run. And depending on like whatever platform you are, it's how you present yourself through those platforms that make it possible. I think it was 2 speakers. One is the VP of, not marketing, I think communications or something. And the other one is like data analytics. That's cool. I didn't ask any questions. I was brained out. They were talking. I'm like, yeah. Then I worked on some while it was class time or like open lab period. I worked on understanding the fractal system of a rigid body dynamic using Vernoise, so I can simulate that for my next VFX assignment, which is a centric orbit VFX assignment. So yeah. But overall, you know, I've been like in the works of doing things. I think more, if not this week, I've not thought about editing my videos or constantly doing that until now, because I feel like I have some weird free time in myself that I want to do it. And I think there's like, I feel like there's like first-hand impressions of like how, from even like learning from like today's thing, I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool. It's like, also make sure you scrape anything that you don't want on the internet, because if it's accessible to someone, then they're sure enough gonna find it appealing or not appealing. I think as well when it comes to like, I'm just looking at cars, like work outside of being graduating. I had one thought in my mind that I feel like with the experience of community college, it's like your entryway to being in that sort of open-ended range of you're also learning with adults on a cheaper scale to some capacity than like private colleges. I think the one big thing, so I don't forget, is that with like DigiPen, what people can take away out of if you're an alumni is that 10 years after you graduate, you can audit any class that you want. But it obviously has some precautions if like you are trying to audit something for later on after you graduate, you can't do that. But otherwise, you can do that. And that's great. I don't think there's not any other facilities that are like that. And if I would want to communicate that still with, whoa, I like that. Oh, my phone. The one time my phone actually dropped, I was gonna show off like a framework of a roof that they're being in place, but I guess not. But the framework of, not the framework, oh, the framework of how you go about doing stuff after you graduate from DigiPen. But I digress with that. And then afterwards I got food, and then yeah, which is in the back, which is like a melt sandwich or something. And now I'm gonna continue doing work and messaging people and so on and so forth. But what I wanted to say was for the graduation stuff, community college, blah blah blah. Well, finding that gray area in your life where you're transitioning to get a job. No matter what you're gonna do, even after you graduate, you're not gonna expect yourself to get the job that you want at the end. I think even with the connections that you have and almost the expertise that you have, or how you present yourself, how you have, I think it's the personal drive that you have, whatever it is you're doing. I think the three fundamental impacts from the slides that they presented were these three things under the one slide, which was, there was multiple slides, but for this one slide, I was like, okay, I only took note of this slide that I knew was like a thing, but then I wanted to just share it, is have a stable job. A job that can be helping for your family, your loved ones, yourself first, and other people. Second, be able to love what you work on. I think when it comes to just the type of company that you want to work for, you have to learn about like their culture, and not just the culture, the people within that culture. And whether you work there for like 18 months or even like a year, it's that relationship with like those other people, not just like what you're gonna plan to work on, is very valuable to it. So having built like relationships on even what you want to keep learning to do is great, especially if you are wanting to just be proactive in life. I think the most proactive people are in life are the ones who are always curious and want to know more about things, whether if it's good or bad. They're being more proactive than being more complacent on enjoying how other people's lives are going. And I think it's just that balance of how much you do that and how much you do the other thing to incorporate in life. Because I think there's this weird fail-safe in your own self that's like, I need to do something with my life. I need to do something with my life. What is that? I don't know, because I've not started doing anything like seeking it out. And then the third thing is the aspect of where are you going to take yourself in social media? Because I think it's I think I'm adding this on my own. I think it was a relationship thing that was the third one. But I'm going to say the platforms that you have. More often than not, there are so many ways to get a job or to make yourself self-sufficient in your own life. And for example, I've like watched a career ladder short on YouTube, and I think I looked at the comments and they're like, I finally understand why you do this, is that you showcase these opportunities so that people will also recognize how there's other types of jobs that you can do in that capacity. So just with that in mind, I think I find it valuable that like, if it makes sense that you have to put something behind like a paywall or trying to like represent yourself in this type of nation TikTok, or try to put yourself out there on Instagram for the reels, even if it's like very sludgy, or if you can't really find like a moving picture, do any shitty post or whatever, excuse my language. But I think the one thing, if you're wanting to make a personal brand, it is two things. One, being able to, those are my three things, but here's my two things for the personal brand thing, is to know what you want to showcase, right? And figure out then afterwards, like, oh, which platforms are suitable for that. And then second is to understand your audience. Whether it becomes the retention span, whether it becomes like the clickbait thumbnail or title, you have to think about yourself, then you think about others. And that way, when it becomes that sort of thing, then it mix it up. I think the best type of videos are the videos in which you are getting information. You're making the person, and again, that's why it's like, okay, what are two things in life? To like always be like curious, so curiosity and stuff, and then also know how to like balance yourself from just relaxing and trying to enjoy life how it is and where you are. And if it's affecting you badly or poorly, find your outlets in which can help you not cope with it, but like just be able to exist still in it, because it's just a day. And yeah, so I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna do my work, I'll probably edit, I don't know, but if I do, you'll be seeing this video and you will not think I'm dead. Clip that, clip.
Gonna be the case. So, you know, I'm thinking casual, cunty, like I look like I'm the bartender and I'm serving you a beer kind of thing. I think I'm gonna get a little chilly, so I might throw on a little sweater. Anyway, it's about 6:08, so I completely missed happy hour. Which is great. Alright. Get over here. But before you consume any alcohol, you must have a full stomach. So I got my chicken cheese enchiladas heated up and ready to go. You know, they're actually not that bad. I only used about 4 ingredients, just because I've never made it, and I'm gonna try to be fancy schmancy with it, but they're very good. Mukbang. Everyone turn your ears on. I never make a meal where I'm like disgusted. At the end of the day, I'm just proud of myself for not setting off any fire alarms. But this is delicious. I made a whole big can of them last night. So I've got like a week worth of enchiladas. I saw TikTok and I've seen a few variations of this point being made. The whole point is to convince you not to move in with your boyfriend. And it's like this girl, and she's always like enjoying like a night in. And she's like, imagine you've had the longest, hardest day at work. You're exhausted. And you come home and there's a man. There's a man in your house. Imagine the sight of a man after a long day of dealing with a bunch of other random strangers, and then it's like, oh my god, I cannot get a moment alone. I get that. Coming home to your own space, it is bliss. It's beautiful. Like, you don't have to put on some sort of personality for anyone. You don't have to answer to anyone. But things like the house being clean when you get home from a long day of work is up to you earlier in the day. That is up to past you to make sure that, you know, when you come home from a long day at work, that the house is clean. And maybe you come home and you've been so busy at work or wherever you're doing that you come home to a messy apartment because you haven't been able to clean. My scenario is that I come home from a long flight or something. I come home to a very clean apartment, freshly clean. Everything has been wiped down, the fridge is stocked, the laundry's done, and what is that smell? Oh my god, it's my favorite thing about the Body Works, because the person I'm living with has cleaned for me and has put on my favorite candle because knows that I like it. And oh my god, is that a home cooked meal waiting for me? Wow, and it's my favorite food. How did he know? Freshly out of the oven. So there's some pros and cons to living alone versus like living with your partner and stuff. Like, the alone time is needed. Everyone needs alone time. But I think coming home to a freshly clean house, a like an amazing meal that was cooked by someone, and you don't have to do anything, you just sit, eat, enjoy. And then they do all the dishes after because they know that you're still exhausted. Ah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful system. You know, all these liberals, they want to eliminate the classic American family, but it's a beautiful thing. I'm kidding. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy my meal that I actually did cook for myself, and I'm gonna feed the kids, and then Mama going out on the town. Mama's getting out of the apartment. Okay, I'm going. Damn it. I just hate being perceived. You understand. But, you know, it's dark, so maybe it'll be easier. Also, I don't think this deodorant works anymore. It worked for me when I was 14. I guess my body is overcame tobacco. Much to what's in my purse? What's in my bag? I admire Purse's.
I want to just say
The desire to do all the
this.
the work.
Right, I gotta pause it. Look at this. This is a worm on my garage door. I've never seen this in my life. And this right here is a showcase of why I record. Sometimes, in some capacity, you see this happen. And then you're like, wow. When has ever that been a thing? Literally, I don't know. It's leaving like a trail. It's kind of neat. I kind of want to only record outside. I'll do that really quick. Worm.